Hey y'all, I'm Elisa, the Scrappy Wife behind ScrappyWife.com, and today I am continuing to work through Truth Camp. I'm actually on stop number 5 of Truth Camp, which is the beginning of the second month of Truth Camp, and it's all about grace and truth, and we're looking at John 13, 1 through 35. I'm going to continue working on this large map that I've been kind of journaling on top of to create a really large kind of map of where Truth Camp is taking us through the book of John. I'm having a really good time journaling on here. It's been really cool. I cannot wait to see the finished product when it's all opened up. I think it's going to be pretty neat. Today I'm actually planning on using some of these stickers. These are from the Pipsticks subscription that I receive every month, and they are camping stickers, and I think they'll be perfect along our little camp route here. So I will put you guys on fast forward. I will link everything that I end up using down below. I do have other videos about how I'm working through Truth Camp and what the I have Truth Camp unboxings. I have all the things on Truth Camp. So make sure to check out my channel and search for Truth Camp if you are looking for more of those. All right, I'll put you guys on fast forward. Let's go. Getting the background ready for this map each time is the most time consuming. So I have sped it up a lot. You can see me do this in all the videos I have on Truth Camp. But basically what I did is I bought a second copy of this map. This map is from the Dollar Tree, so it's $1.25. It's meant for hanging in a classroom. And so I bought two copies, one of which I am creating on top of, and one of which I am using to cut apart. That way I can cut out scrapbook paper that is roughly the same size as the different states that I'm using. I am not being super careful on following all the river lines and things like that. So it's not exact. It's just a rough interpretation of the map. And usually I've been using the Maggie Holmes set. I think it's called Sail Away or Travel. It's a travel theme set for Maggie Holmes. But on this particular one, I wanted to stick with darker colors, specifically going from dark to light. The section of scripture that we are focusing on for this particular study is the Last Supper. And there are so many great lessons that Jesus gives in the Last Supper. And I find it to be a part of the scripture that for me feels a little bit dark because you know what's going to come. Like it's almost like the anticipation is just killing you because you know what's going to happen. But I also feel like he inserts so much light and gives so much light during this time. So I wanted to kind of go with that. And I thought the stickers that I was going to use and the cutouts that I would use would pop off really nicely. All right, just trimming a little bit of extra. Now that I have all of the background done, for each of the sections, I've been doing a border of some sort, usually with washi tape. And so for this one, I will use this particular measuring tape border. I've kind of switched around. Mostly I've been using measuring tape washi from Illustrated Faith. I did use some of the green washi for one of them. I've been changing it up. So I just want to make sure that the washi that's right next to it is not the same. I do decide that I need to cover up this little bit of green that was still showing because even though it'll get covered by washi, the washi is slightly translucent, and so I thought the green would pop out from behind it. So I do just stick a little bit of black and white paper back there, trim that off, and then you're not going to see it, but it's also not going to bring extra attention because it's a different color. So continuing working on the washi border. And what I'm going to do for this particular section is highlight two words that Taylor has talked about multiple times in the devotional, and that's hesed and emet, which are two words that are describing the loving kindness and mercy that the Lord gives, and then the truth that he has, the truth that he is, just kind of how Jesus is the embodiment of truth and love and kindness and mercy. Something else that I've done throughout this devotional are have these little kind of trail marks, this little path you might say, and it's taking us throughout the map. I think it echoes the map that's on the devotional cards really well. And so this time I'm actually adding these steps in advance, and then I'll be able to kind of work my elements around them. Normally I put all the elements that I want on the page, all the different die cuts and stickers and things like that, and then I add these, but I found that I end up going overboard with the elements. I love all of the different cutouts they give you. I find them super inspiring, and so I use a ton of them, and then I don't have room to leave much of a path, and I really wanted to highlight the path. I love this card. I think it pops off really nicely from the black and white. And now I'm just kind of going through elements and playing. I'm going to do kind of a play on perspective. I do want to use those Pipsticks stickers, but those are very small. And I thought it would be cool to have this perspective of these cabins kind of being in the distance and the other tent being in the forefront or the foreground, and you can kind of get that perspective feel. I know that doesn't totally make sense on a map, but I thought it would be a fun way to play with these fun camping stickers and to get to use them in my devotional. So I set up a little scene here in the back with those stickers, and then I'll start to work with the die cuts in the front. These have a pretty thick white border, which I wasn't a big fan of, so I'm just going to trim that out just so you see the tree a little bit. I think the white border is helpful, especially because I chose to do a darker background, so it's helpful. I just don't think I need it quite as much on the tree. So I'll trim that out, and then I'll end up putting these down. And as I'm putting them down, I'm noticing that there's a pretty stark difference between the stickers and the die cuts. They have a different finish. Of course, the stickers all have this metallic shiny finish, and all the die cuts have a dull finish. And so I think to make it come together, I have to make sure to include the different, include all of the different elements as far as the finishes in different sections. So I'm going to be adding some of the stickers down here, the ones that kind of make sense near the bigger tent, and then I will end up at the very end adding a more matte element up near my other kind of cluster, and that way it spreads across the whole page and it kind of brings the elements together. So I'll add a few florals and a guitar, some of the larger camping elements that size-wise didn't really make sense with the cabin that I have in the background section. I hope all of that made sense. To me, it's like when you're mixing and matching different metals, maybe in something you're wearing, around a room, like decorating, you just want to make sure that a certain element isn't present only in one place. So you can see I'm adding a few of the metallic stickers up at the top, the little moon and the stars where the bird is going to be. I'm adding the guitar and a few elements down here. I just don't want all of those metallic stickers to just be in the one section because I think that that would end up looking a little odd. So I'm adding them in a few different places, and I think it comes out pretty well. I like how it looks in the end, and I think that they incorporate pretty nicely. I was a little bit worried that they would stick out like a sore thumb compared to all of the other finishes, but I think it works out pretty nicely. What jumped out to me in this particular devotional was how Jesus deals with the conflict and betrayal. And there was a quote from Taylor that said, "Just because Jesus was fully divine does not mean he did not feel the agony of grief and betrayal. When you love someone deeply and faithfully, there will always be pain when they leave you or reject you." And what I loved was Taylor had us reflect on what Jesus did with that pain. We acknowledged that that pain was there, but he did not lash out. He did not yell in anger. He did not start accusing and, pull Judas out in front of all the other disciples and point out everything that was going to go wrong. He also didn't bury it. Like, he was processing that pain, and you can see it when he goes to the garden. But he met Judas with grace and love. And he does the same thing later when he experiences tons of betrayal in these last hours of his life. He always meets it with grace and love. And I think that is just such a valuable lesson that we can have, to really take home and work on, because I know that's not my natural tendency. When I feel betrayed, when I feel hurt, then I don't necessarily meet that with grace and love. And so I think taking that lesson from the scene at the Last Supper is a great thing to reflect on. At this point, I'm nearly done with all of the different decorative elements. I'm just labeling the section of scripture that we are focused on for this particular devotional, which is John 13, 1 through 5. I'll put that in place. And then I wanted to add some of the black and white hearts that came with the second Truth Camp set. So the set for the second session, I'll add, first of all, my badge right here for this particular session. And then I love these black and white hearts. I think they are awesome. And that's going to be my more matte element that ends up near my first little set of houses. So we'll add one up here in the corner. I like to have it 3 places because I think that's a nice design number. We'll add one right here. And then we're ready to start adding notes and such from the devotional straight onto the paper. So, like I said, I am going to add the definition of these two words that were talked about in the devotional, and then a little bit of journaling, just some thoughts, and then we'll be done with this session, Truth Camp number 5. So far, I have heard only great things about people that are working through Truth Camp. I think everyone is really enjoying it this year. I can't wait to dive into the last 3 lessons. I'll also be kind of sad that it's over because camp time during the summer, one of my favorite times in Illustrated Faith's year. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider hitting that subscribe button as well as the bell notification button. Like I said before, I will link all of the supplies that I use down below, so be sure to check out the description box if you want to find any of these materials. I want to give a huge shout out to all of my Patreon members. We have some awesome things coming up on Patreon, including an amazing deal that's happening over there right now. So go check out my Patreon account, go see what it's all about. Make sure to let me know if you have any questions or comments, but I don't want anyone to miss out. I think you are going to love all of the activities coming up. All right, I hope that you have a fabulous day. And as always, keep it creative.